Masechta Sanhedrin, Daf Daled Amud Aleph, Listanif and Gimel Amud Beis, the third line from the bottom. We're going to explain the reasoning of Rabbi by Dinim Mamanis, why do they hold that you need 5 dayanim. Says Gemara Lahainu Tam Rabbi. Only this is the reason of Rabbi why we need 5 dayanim. It says in the end of the pasuk, Asher Yashin Alekim, that the dayanim will paskin one is guilty and he will have to pay. But the Yashin is written in plural next to the word Alekim today. So just like over there, it's referring to Alekim in that end of the pasuk as 2 dayanim. Namalekim lamata, so too the Alekim. So it's Namalekim lamata. It says in the pasuk the word Alekim at the end of the pasuk by Yasher Yashin Alekim, but Namalekim lamaila, and then the pasuk before it says Adar Alekim Yavad Shnayim. So too it says the Alekim, the pasuk right before it. So malamata, just like by Yasher Yashin Alekim, which Yashin is plural, which is written with Alekim, Ishnaim is referring to 2 dayanim. Aflamaila, so too when it says Adar Alekim Yavad Shnayim, the Alekim that's written before that pasuk, before the end of the pasuk, Shnaim also means 2 dayanim. So you have 4. The aim bezin shakel meisiv naleim, and bezin cannot be even. Aim bezin shakel, and a bezin cannot be even. Meisiv naleim. Therefore, we have to add another dayan. Harei kan chamisha. So now you have 5 dayanim. So the Gemara, Rabbanon. What are the Rabbanon going to say? The Rabbanon say you only need 3 dayanim. How will they learn it? So they say we have a machlokes b'chlal in general. If you say yesh aim lemikra or yesh aim lemaseres, yesh aim lemikra means the primary is the way it's read in the Torah. The word yashin is the way it's read in the Torah. It's read in plural, and Rabbi said that's the primary. But the Rabbanon say no. The yesh aim lemikra, yesh aim lemaseres. The primary is the way it's written, and the way it's written yashin is without a vav. It's written in singular, Yashim, without a vav, and therefore it only means 1 dayan. The end of the pasuk when it says Yashim Alekim, it only means 1 dayan, and the pasuk before when it says Alekim, we can only learn out it's also only 1 dayan. So you only know 2 dayanim, and 2 dayanim we aim bezin shekel. You can have a bezin that's even. Therefore you add a 3rd one, and therefore the Rabbanon hold you only need 3. So Gemara Amar Rav Yitzchak, Rav Yosef, Amar Rav Yochanan. Rabbi Yosef said the name of Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yehuda ben Rayetz, Ubei Shammai, Rabbi Shimon, Rabbi Akiva, Kol Svidalahu, Yesh Aim Lebika. They all hold that the primary of a word, when you want to make a drasha, the primary is the reading of the word, and not the way it's written. And the Gemara says, Rabbi, where do we know that Rabbi holds that the primary is the reading? This that we just said. How do you know you need 5 dayanim? He says because the end of the pasuk it says Yashiyun Alekim, and we go according to the way it's read. It's read in plural. So just like the Alekim at the end of the pasuk is 2 dayanim, so too the Alekim right before the end of the pasuk is also 2 dayanim, and that's how we know it's 4 dayanim. Now the pasuk cannot be even, so you had a 5th one. But you see, you started off saying it's plural 2 dayanim because you go according to the way it's read, not according to the way it's written without a vav, which would be singular. Rabbi Yehuda ben Rayetz, where do we see Rabbi Yehuda ben Rayetz says the primary is the reading? The Tanya that we learned in the Brayse, it says, it says if a woman will give birth to a nekeva, she should be impure for 2 weeks, like a nida. The students of Rabbi Yehuda ben Rayetz asked, let's read the word shivim, that she should be tamid for 70 days. Because it doesn't say 2 yuds to say shvu ayim, to say it's 2 weeks. It's written only with 1 yud. So let's nekeva tmeir shivim. I would have thought maybe a nekeva, a woman who gives birth to a nekeva, should be tamei for 70 days. Rabbi Yehuda ben Rayetz said impossible to say that the kavanah of the pasuk is for 70 days. Why not? Because tima v'tiyah b'bazacha, the Torah designated periods of Tumah and Tara for a woman who gives birth to a Zach. And those so too the Torah designated periods of Tumah and Tara of a woman who gives birth to a female child. Just like the length of the time that the Torah designated for Tara, for the woman to be Tara, her Tara days is doubled in the case of a nekeva. meaning that by Azacha it's 33 days of Tara, and the Tara, when she gives birth to the Nekeva, is 66. So too, the length of time that's designated for Tumah, in the case of Azacha, is doubled by a Nekeva. So by Azacha, it says, V'tama Shivas Yamim, it says only 7 days. If she gave birth to Azacha, the period of Tumah is only 7 days. So obviously, for a Nekeva, which would be double, would be 2 weeks. After the Talmidim left, Rabbi Yudman and Reyes went running after them to find them. He said to them, "You don't need this as a proof. It's a simple answer. Shvu'ayim karinan." Rather, he holds Yeshem Lamika. It's read Shvu'ayim. It's read 2 weeks, even though it's one Yud. It's one Yud. Maybe it means Shivim. No, he says Yeshem Lamika because the primary is for a word to make a dasha is the way it is read, not the way it's written. That was a raya for Rabbi Yehuda ben Arayis, that he holds Yeshem Lemikra, that the primacy is assigned to the way it's pronounced. Beishamai holds Yeshem Lemikra from where? It's not, we learned in the Mishnah Zvachim, Bein Yazikis, Dam HaKabados Al Mizbeach, Benegir to spraying the blood on the Mizbeach HaChitzen. Beishamai Aimim says, Kol HaNiton Al Mizbeach HaChitzen, all the offerings who the blood is applied to the Mizbeach HaChitzen. So he says over there, Shenesanan, that the Kohen gave b'matana achas, he only gave one matana, one spray. Keeper, he's mechupa b'diavad, he's forgiven b'diavad. Like it says by the Shlomim, v'dam zvachecha yishafich. It's mashma that he's forgiven even if he did only one pouring. It doesn't say yishafich saviv, all around. It says yishafich. So even one pouring. Okay, ubekavim chatas. There you needed 4 matanas of dam on the 4 corners of the mizbeach. So it says the kohen is not going to be forgiven only if he put at least 2 matanis of dam on the kanis of mizbeach. So and that's the difference between the chatas and the other kabbanas. By the other kabbanas, even one, and one give matana, and by a common chatas 2. Only 2. The minimum is 2. Keeper. Rabbi Silla holds, even by a chatas, one application is still going to be a kapara. What is the reasoning of Beis Shammai that they hold by chatas? 2 matanes you need, and it's ma'akiv the kapara if it's going to be less, because it says in the Torah by matanas dam shalachatz, it says kanois, and kanois. The word kanois is read 3 times. It says kanois by the it's by Sidus Izim. It says by Kifsa, and it says also by the Tzibur. Okay, or the seer of a nasi, and it says 2 by Yachid, a Kivsa and a Sar. That's 2, each one by Yachid, and the last one is by the seer of a nasi. Okay, so you find that the word kanis is written by these 3, by a seer of a nasi, and Kivsen of a Yachid and a Sar of a Yachid. Kanis is written in plural. So how many do you have if you count all the Kanis together? You have altogether 6. Arekan Sheish. You have 6. Now, you could only dash in 1 Kanis you have to remove because ain't dashin tchiles. You don't dash in that you need for the goof of the pasuk. The other 2 Kanis is you have Abba Matanis. I'm sorry, no. You have six Matanis, because it says 3 times Kanes, and Yadash, and Abba, 4 Matanis is the mitzvah. The 4 Matanis is for the mitzvah, you need for the 4 Kronim. Ushtayim, and the extra 2 is La'akif, to tell us that if he didn't, if he only did 2, he's still going to be, if he didn't do a minimum of 2, he's not going to be forgiven. So he says, because you can't say all 6 are going for the mitzvah, because the mitzvah is only 4 kanes. So 4 of them is written for, so you can only have 4 for the mitzvah itself. You have 2 extra ones. What are the 2 extra ones coming to tell you? Obviously, to tell you that that it's ma'akif. 2 you need. If you didn't do 2, a minimum of 2, then it's not gonna be good. B'silaim kanois is written 1 time with avav, which is plural, but the other 2 kanois, which is written by Sir Yachid and by Sir of a Nasi, is written without a vav. Only 1 kanis is written plural, plural with a plural with a vav. So you have kanis with the vav is 2, and then you have 2 kanis without a vav. So all in all you have only altogether 4. So shalish lemitzvah. Are you going to say 3 is for the mitzvah? And he's telling you have to have a minimum of 1. In fact, you might, because, and here you see, he holds yesh aim lamaseres. You look at the way it's written, and 2 of them are written singular, and only 1 is written plural. So he's on. So you only have 4. So 1 is come to. Oh, he's come to tell you that only 1 is going to be ma'akev even by a kabbalah chatas. In fact, you might have kulu mitzvah. Say all 4 matanis that they were misabes, all for the mitzvah, and really you don't need any. If you don't do any matana, you're still going to be. It's not going to be ma'akiv. Who says that any of them are ma'akiv? And the Gemara, we don't find that a common should be mechaper without any matana at all. There has to be at least 1 matana. Zog the Gemara, Reb Shimon. Where do we find Reb Shimon? So here you saw that Beis Hillel says, I'm saying Beis Shammai said that yesh aim lamika because he counted it as 6. Okay. Zog the Gemara, where do we find Reb Shimon? The yesh aim lamika. The time that we learned in the Braisa, been again to the number of walls that are kosher for a sukkah. Shtayim kil chasim. You need 2 full walls, meaning that it should be 7 tvachim and 10 by 10 tvachim high. Ushlishis afil eina ella tefach, and the third one could be the width even of 1 tefach. Shalish kil chasim. You need 3 full walls. Uravias afilu tefach, and the 4th one could be even a tefach. What are they arguing about? Abanon savri yeshem lamasedes. Abanon hold that the primacy is the way it's written. Reb Shimon Sava Yeshem Lamika, and Reb Shimon holds the primacy is the way it's pronounced. It says in the pasuk. So let's quote the pasuk. It says pasuk is the first pasuk is written without a vav. Teishu Shivas Yamim Kol Ezach Yisol. Yeshu pasuk is second sukkah is also written without a vav, and the last sukkah it says Laman Yedu Dersechem Ki Pasuk Kois. The 3rd basukis is written with a vav. So Rabbanan Sabri Yashem L'Maseyas. Rabbanan say the primacy is the way it's written. So it's written basukis with twice without a vav. Basukis is written without a vav. That's only 2. The last one is basukis, which is written with a vav. Harei kanaba. So you have 4. Dal chad kra legufei. 1 basukis, the first one, you need pashit for the pshat of the pasuk, for the ikem mitzvah of yeshiva sukkah. So that, and we're not doishin the tchiles, the word that's needed for the guf of the pshat of the pasuk. You don't dash in that. So pashit lahu tlas. So you're left with 3 walls because 1 basukis is 1 with written without a vav. and this last pasuk is written with above, so it's 3. So you see, you need 3 walls. And I came to minimize that you don't need 3 full walls, but the third wall can be by kimta atafach. The halach l'meish mesina came to say that the last wall, the third wall, can be even the width of a tefach. Reb Shimon says basuk that even though the first ones are written, the first 2 are written without a vav, but the primacy is the way it is pronounced. So you have 6. You have 6 walls. Dal chad kol remove 1 word of pasuk is the first one because it's needed for the pshat of the pasuk and aim dashin chilas. We can't dashin the word that's needed, the first one, which is needed for the chiyuv to tell you of sitting in a sukkah. Pashlo abba. So you have 2 basukis plurals that are left over because yeshem lamika. So you have 4 walls. And the halach l'meish mesina came to minimize the 4th wall, and said that the 4th wall doesn't have to be. It could be even the width of a tefach. So here we see that Reb Shimon holds that we go yeshem lamika because Reb Shimon counted it as 6 walls, even though the first 2 basukis were written in without a vav in a singular, but he goes according to the way it's read, pronounced. So here you have it right. Reb Shimon holds yeshem lamika, that the primacy is the way it's pronounced. Rabbi Akiva, what do we see? Rabbi Akiva holds yeshem lamika. The Tanya that we learned in the Braisa. Rabbi Akiva ima menayin levius. From where do we know that if there's a revius dam in a tent, that the person who goes into the tent will be tamei? Revius haluk shel dam sheyatz mishnei mason, that came out of 2 separate mason. That means a half a look from each mace. Shemetama, that it's metama be'oil. That dam is going to be metama be'oil, even though it's coming a half a look from 2 masons. Like it says in the Geya to the Kohen Gadol, I'll call nafshois meis lo yovei. Nafshois is plural. That the 2 b'lashon rabin. So that means even if the blood is from 2, and then it says meis, that even though it's 1 shear of a lug, so shtei comes to tell you shtei nafashis v'shir echad. The nafshis is 2 nafashis, that the lug is coming from 2 nafashis v'shir echad. How do we know it's 1 lug? Because meis refers to a revius of dam. It's a revius of dam. Rabbanan argue, no, it doesn't say. You don't look at the way it's pronounced. You look the way it's written. Naf shois without a vav ksiv. So that tells you that the revius has to come. The revius of dam has to come from 1 nefesh, not from 2 people. So you see, but according to Rabbi Akiva goes according to the way it's read. Naf shois, plural. And that's why he says, even if it's a revius adam of 2 people, even if the revius consists of 2 different masons together, it's going to be metam ba'el, because he holds nav shoy says yesh em lamika. The primacy is the way it's read, and it's read in plural. The lesle yesh em lamika. Is it possible to say that there's somebody that doesn't hold of yesh em lamika? Matanya, we learned in the Braisa. It says in the Torah, lo yisavashel gdi b'chalev imay. It says one shouldn't cook the goat meat with the milk of its mother. Yachol, I would have thought b'chalev, not b'chalev milk, but b'chalev, maybe a man in the fats, that it's not allowed to be cooked in the fats of the mother. Says the Gemara, Amart Yeshem Lamika. So you said that you go according, the primacy is according to the way it's pronounced. So the is is for sure bas b'chalav and not b'chalav. So surely there's nobody that argues with this maskana of the Braisa, because if not, where would we learn out the isa bas b'chalav? So it's mashma that according to everybody, yesh em lamika. So his kasha was, how could somebody hold yesh em lamasedas? It's impossible, because if you would have held yesh em lamasedas, how would you ever learn out the isa bas b'chalav? Because When it says it could be read. Obviously, the only and that's the market from where we learn out. You're not allowed to cook meat with milk. So obviously, there's nobody that would hold yesh aim lamaseris that we look at the way it's read. Says the Gemara, you're right. Rather, everybody holds that the primacy is the way it's pronounced. Now we're going to have to try to answer all the previous machlekes. Rabbi, Rabbanan, and Rabbi and Rabbanan are arguing whether you need 3 dayanim or 5 dayanim, because we said Rabbi learns Yashin is plural, it's pronounced plural. He says, no, that wasn't the machlekes. Everybody holds Yashin means plural. Rabbi Savi Yashin Elikim Acharine. Rabbi holds when it says Yashin Elikim, the plural with one Elikim, it's only referring to that last Elikim that it's plural. And we learn out the Elikim that's written right before it is also, meaning the Ad Elikim Yavid, which is right, the Elikim right before of Asher Yashin Elikim is also 2. Rabbanan Savi, no, Yashin, yeah, it means plural, but the Haich Vahai, that Yashin, when it said Lashon Rabban, it was not only referring to the Elikim which was written next to the word Yashin, it was also referring to the Elikim right above it, where it says Ad Elikim Yav Devashneim. To those two, it was referring to both Elikims together, and that's what Yashin was referring to. So you only have 2, and in Bezdin Shakal, a Bezdin cannot be even. Therefore, you added a 3rd one. But the Rabbi says no. Yashin Elikim was specifically referring to the last Elikim, and we learn out the Elikim before it is also plural. So it's 4, and the Bezdin cannot be even, and therefore we add a 5th. Rabbi Yehuda ben Arayetz, but the machlekes benegeya to Yeletz Nekeva. If it's read 2 weeks or 70, he says loy pli Rabbanan alei. The Rabbanan will not argue, and they'll say the Yeshem Lemikah, the primacy is the way it's pronounced. The Rabbanan will agree it's read shva'ayim, and it could only mean 2 weeks, and not 70. And the next machlekes benegeya to the dam achatas that we said there's machlekes if you need 2 matanes minimum to be a kapara or 1 matana is good. So, and they were arguing on the word kanois. So he says, no, that wasn't the argument. That's not the mark of the argument. If kanois is read in plural, or if we go according to the way it's pronounced, or the way it's written. Rather, the machlekes was like this. Beisilo, that said that even if it's 1 matana, you're forgiven the tani, because we learned in the Brais, it said in the Torah, the dam that was sprayed on the Mizbeach HaChitzon, it says v'chipa alav hakayim v'chipa. It says 3 times. 1 by the Sir Nasi, 2nd time by Sida Izim Shal Yachid, and a 3rd time by the Kivsa Shal Yachid. To teach us that even if it was 1 matana, he's going to be forgiven. Like we said, the 3 words v'chipa were needed mipnei adin because of the drasha that we're going to learn out. That all the ab matanes min adin, you need 4 matanes. So he says that the reason why we need a v'chipa all these 3 times because min adin, you would have learned that you need all 4 matanis. That's why we need a v'chipa to teach that 1 is going to be good. But we can be marshal lechatas with 1 matana from a different drasha. Why do we need the 3 times of v'chipa? Nema domin, it says matnas domin that was placed on his bayach lemata. There was a line, a chutasik, a red line that went around his bayach, the middle of his bayach, and lemata for the kabbanis of Eil Shlam Hashem, the blood was sprayed beneath the line that was around the middle of his bayach. Nema domin lemayla, and it says also benegeya to those blood that was sprayed above the chut hasika, that line, that's the chatois, that was sprayed above the line. So we can learn now, just like those bloods that was sprayed, the bloods of the kabbanis of Eil Shlam Hashem that was sprayed beneath the line of the mizbeach, shenesan of matanachas chiper, that if you sprayed once, you're already mechupa, avdam hamud l'mayla. So too, the blood that was sprayed above the chut hasika, which is the chatas, shenas matanachas kippah. that if he gave one matana, it should be mechuppah. So what do we need? The dasha of the chippah. Says the Braisa, no. Maybe we should dash in this way. It says damim by the chatois hachitzonis that their blood was sprayed on the mizbeich hachitzim. And then it speaks about the chatois hapnimius, that their dam was sprayed on the mizbeich hapnimi. There, it's referring to the Dam Tzibur, the Nasi or the Dam Tzibur. So there it says on the Dam that was Bifnim, Ma Dam Hamud Bifnim, Chisach Matanas Layasalekum. If you messed up on one of the Matanas, it's 0. Over there you had to spray 7 sprays on the Kapiris as well. On the Parechas as well. And af dam hamad machutz, I'll say so too. The dam that's played on the mizbeich hachitzin, chisach matanis. If you messed up or missed one of the matanis, lo yasei klum. I would say it's ma'akiv, meaning that you need all the matanis, just like the mizbeich hapnimi, the blood that was sprayed in the mizbeich hapnimi. There again, the mizbeich hapnimi was usually used for the keteiros. But there were 2 kabbanas that were sacrificed there. The Helam Dav Shal Tzibur, like we had yesterday, that if the Sanhedrin instructed the Bnei Yisrael to do something which is chayiv kares by mistake, so they would have to spray the blood on Mizbeich HaChitzin and on the Pareiches, U'Pakayin HaMashiach. So they needed. Their dam had to be sprayed 7 times on the breiches, and it was also sprayed on the corners of the mizbeich hazal. So maybe we should learn out from the chatas of the pnim, the dam of the pnim, that just like the dam of pnim, if you're missing one matana, it's layas aleikum. So too on the mizbeich hachitzin. So the Gemara nidul daima. So the Raisa says, let's see. To which one is the chatas hachitzena more similar to? Danin chutz michutz. Should we learn out a chatas which was sprayed by chutz michutz from other kabbalas that the blood is sprayed by chutz on the mizbeich hachitzena? Vein danin chutz mepnim, and we should learn those bloods that was sprayed on the mizbeich hachitzena from the blood that was sprayed on the mizbeich hapnimi. Oy klach lederazu danin chatas rabba krans machatas. Let's learn out achatas of and the 4 corners of the mizbeich hachitzin from the mechatas of the abakrans of the mizbeich hapnimi. And the rest of the kabbalah should not be a proof for this chatas. She'ein chatas, because the other kabbalas are not a chatas, and the abakranis, and it doesn't say about abakranis by the other kabbalas. Talmud Lema, since you cannot prove which way the dasha should follow, Talmud Lema, mepnei adin. That's why we needed the 3 extra words v'chipa, because of the din that officially I would have thought you have to spray on all 4 kranes. Kippur, afa pishlei nasna l'shleisha. One keeper is telling you that even if he sprayed 3 times, the keeper, the second keeper, afa pishlei nasna l'shtayim. Second keeper comes to tell you even if he sprayed only twice. And the third keeper is that even if he gave 1 matana, the other 3 matanas are not going to be ma'akiv. Reb Shimon Rabbanan, and the machlokes of Reb Shimon Rabbanan. So how we're going to explain the machlokes, because there we try to say the basukes, they were arguing if you go according to the way it's pronounced, so then it's 6 and you end up with 4, or you go according to the way it's written and you start off with 4, and one goes for the limud for the guf, so you're left with 3, and it's 2 and a tafach. So I think about Rab Shimon. This is what they're arguing. Rab Shimon Saba, really everybody holds it 6. One is for the guf pasik. Another, so now you're left with 4. Another one is for the drash. So Well, now they're arguing if out of the three, if one is needed out of the four, if one is needed for the drasha, the drasha for schach. So, do you need a special rebbe to teach us that the sukkah needs schach or not? Or we learn the schach from the first pasukis, which you needed for the guf ha'inyan, because a sukkah cannot exist without schach. So, Reb Shimon says Chacha doesn't need a pasuk because it's already learned out from the first pasukis. It's part of the pshat of the pasuk because a sukkah cannot be without schach. So therefore you have four, and the halach l'maish misin is coming to diminish just the fourth wall. It could be a tefach. Rabbanon sav schach ba'ikra. Rabbanon say no, for the schach you need a special ribui. So now you're down to three because one is for the guf hakra. Out of the six, one is for the guf hakra, so that basukis is out. So you're left with four, and out of the four, one has come to teach us that you need schach. So you're left only with three. So the third one is where the halacha mesinai minimizes it to the third wall that it should be a tefach. Now the machlekes v'abakim rabbanon, if a revius adam comes from two mesim, that it's metama be'oil, that's what they were arguing. So, how you read nafshes, everybody holds nafshes is plural. Rabbi Akiva says nafshes tati mashma. Rabbi Akiva says nafshes is going on two nefashes, that even the nafshes, which is plural, two nefashes, mace, one revius adam is enough to be metam be'oil. Rabbi Sabri, nafshes the almud mashma. Nafshes is not going on two nefashes. It means nafshes here is referring to nefashis that's out there, that if there's one of these nefashis, one of these nefashis from the plural of the world is mace, the revius of that nefesh is metam ba'il. But not that it's going on, not that the revius, that the revius is from two nefashis, it's from one nefesh. And the plural means if one nefesh out of the nefashis out there is mace. The kuli alma yeshem la'mikra. Everybody agrees. In fact, does everybody hold yeshem la'mikra? That the primacy is the pronunciation. But Tanya, we learned the Braisa. It says letei tafes, letei tafes, letei tafes. It says in the pashas of Shema, it says letei tafes, and in Kiyach it says letei tafes, and in Vahayim Shemayim it says letei tafes, plural with avav. So Harikan Arba. So you have altogether four, because the first two are singular and the last two is two. So from here you learn that you need four pashas in the Tefillin Sharesh. Rabbi Shmuel, those are the words of Rabbi Shmuel. Rabbi Akiva says you don't have to dash in the mispah of that there's four pashas in the Tefillin Sharesh. From this that it says in the Torah Teitafes, because it says the word Teitafes itself tells you that you need four pashas in the Shoresh. Tat is two in the place. Teitafes means you break it up. Tat, which is two bekasvi in the place of kasvi. Shtayim, and the word again, Teitafes tat bekasvi again is shtayim. Tat in the city in the place called Kaspi it means two. Pais Africa and Pais Africa means shtayim also means two. So that's how you need four. That's how you know you need four. Elalaylam pligi says you're right. So you see you go that there's a mandama that says that yesh aim lemasedes, and he learned the first two teitafes without a vav as one and one. And the last teitafes says two. So he says, so you see that there's a mandama that says, yes, that you look according to the way it's written. So really, there is a machlekes if yes, says or not. Hani Mili says, when would these words say, Hani Mili ki pligi? He says, when did we say they're arguing? Only if there's going to be a difference between the pronunciation and the reading, meaning that the reading is going to be without a vav, and the way it's written, it's going to be written differently with an extra letter. Aval hai chale v'chele v'chiyadodininu. But when it comes to the letters are the same. It's just the pronunciation can be read chalev or chalev milk or chalev or fats. There you'll say yesh em la mikra. There the primacy is going to be when the written part is not any different than the way it's pronounced. Then the primacy is the way it's pronounced. In fact, when you get to the mitzvah of Aliyah Regel, it says Shalosh Paramim Bashana. It says Yeirag, that he calls the chukha. Every male should be seen by the Pnei Adon Hashem, in the face of the Master Hashem, or the case of the God of Yidden. It can be pronounced Yira or Yera. The Chiyadadininu. The way it's written and the way it's pronounced, it's the same. Meaning, it can be pronounced Yira or it can be pronounced Yera. Two different ways of pronouncing it, but the way it's written the same way, same letters. Nevertheless, the Tanaim are arguing, even in such a case, you said Yesh Em Lemika when it's the same lettering, and here you see there's a machlokes. How do you have to dash in the words? If you go according to the Mikra or you go according to the Maseres, where do we see that? The Tani we learned in the Braisa. Yochanan ben Dahava Yoima, Mishum Rabbi Yehuda ben Tema, Hasuma be'achs me'eda. Somebody was blind with one eye. Pata mean Hariyah. He's Pata from coming up for Aliyah Regel. Shenever, like it says in the pasuk, Yeda calls it Chorchas Pnei Ad Hashem Elokeinu Yisrael. So it says Yida. What do we learn out? Yida, which implies that the person has to be seen before the Shekhinah. Yeda. And just like when a person is seen Kederach Shabbat, just lirais, just like he's coming, just like Hashem is Kaviyachol coming to see the person. Kach balirais, so too the person is coming to be seen before Hashem. Ma lirais, just like the lirais of Hashem is b'shtei einov, means with a complete sight, full sight. Af lirais, so too to being seen before Hashem, b'shtei einov. He has to be able to see with both eyes, just like the Eibishter is coming to see him. He has to be seen before Hashem in the same way that he should be able to see. And therefore, if he's blind in one of the eyes, he's part of the mitzvah re'iyah. So you see, there's a Tana that dashens Masoiris, and even though there's no difference between the way it's written and pronounced, I mean, you pronounce it. The pronunciation could be done two ways, but it's not going to change the way it's written. It's the same way it's written. He says by Gedi, it has to mean milk, because the only way that there's bishul is only if it's in liquid. Because if it was with chayla, with fats, then it would be togun, it would be fried. You wouldn't be able to call it cooked. So that's why over there, there it's only yesh em lemika, because there's no other way of learning pshat in the pasuk.